It's Cardboard Time, episode number 101. I had to think about that for a minute and then realized, oh yeah, last episode was episode 100. So,
congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
I am in the car with the one and only Jamie Daggers. Hello, Jamie.
Howdy.
We are riding back from PAX Unplugged and also driving right now, our chauffeur in this endeavor. Not eating chips right now, but was eating chips prior. Is my fiance, Allie. Hi, Allie.
Fiance.
Hello.
Ooh.
Fiance.
Ooh.
Fiance.
There's so much love in this car.
There really is.
I'm feeling
so much love in this Denny's.
I'm feeling God in this car today.
Well, we are currently a little bit north of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We got some miles underneath us this morning. We are driving back to the beautiful city of Cleveland, Ohio, a shining beacon of light in an otherwise horrible sea of yuck. Except for, Columbus is pretty cool, and so is Cincinnati, and I guess Toledo might be okay too.
It's the whole diagonal,
Yeah.
through Ohio. Anywhere outside of there, you don't need to worry about it.
You got the tic-tac-toe kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
where
it's Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo's like the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, yeah, you got that, but you didn't need it because you already made the diagonal.
Right. Dayton's not bad.
Yeah, Dayton's okay.
But it's like Cincinnati light, so.
Yeah, exactly. I always kind of lump them into the same group.
Yeah, same.
Also, Lima, Ohio, like, there's little pockets that are called QP Burger, and that's about it.
Lima, Ohio, everyone.
Yes.
Destination. Book your honeymoon for that, maybe.
Get your QP Burger on. Anyways, so as always, this episode will be very raw, unedited, unfiltered,
Unchained,
unhinged,
unleashed.
Probably less unhinged than last episode.
Sorry, but if you thought it was going to be less unhinged, you asked for the wrong co-recorder.
Oh,
what
boy.
am I?
Co-host.
Co-host.
Yeah, you're a co-host.
I forgot the word for host for a minute there.
Co-hostest with the mostest. So we are heading back. Very eventful PAX Unplugged 2024. To start off with, I did want to mention the Jack Link's beef stick that we had that was Dr. Pepper flavored. So that's a thing. Sponsored by Sheetz, but not sponsored by Sheetz.
I just want to point out, it did say inspired by Dr. Pepper.
Inspired by Dr.
Somebody
Pepper,
was
that's right.
thinking of Dr. Pepper when they made that.
It was Dr. Pepper adjacent. But it was quite good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with it. Would I get it again? Maybe. I would consider picking that up in my local Sheetz.
I enjoyed it for now. We'll see about later.
Yeah, we'll see about later. We are currently navigating to the Berkey Creamery, which is on Penn State's campus, so we can go get ice cream. So we'll have a little bit of a pre-show beforehand. We'll talk about the Berkey Creamery, and then we will finish things up after we go to the creamery and let you know how the ice cream was once we're done. So let's get into things. And we started off our journey on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we basically drove through a blizzard to get to Denver, Pennsylvania, which I didn't know was the antique capital of the world, apparently, somehow. And so that's a whole thing. I think we were going like 25 in a 70 most of the way down. It was very treacherous.
Yeah, we're white knuckling it the whole way there.
It was crazy. I mean, it wasn't even lake effect. It was just dumping regular snow on everything. It was very, very white knuckle, very scary. But we made it. We made it to Denver, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour and 10 minutes outside of Philadelphia. The reason that we wanted to stop, we didn't want to pay Philadelphia hotel prices, and in addition, we wanted to check out the one, the only Shady Maple Smorgasbord, which apparently is the largest buffet in the United States of America. So, Jamie, I want to know your thoughts first before I start talking about my thoughts on the buffet.
You know, the thing is, you said we really wanted to do it, and
I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go.
I'm not going to act like I didn't enjoy it, but you know, this was kind of something I didn't have a whole lot of say in. That said, I did enjoy it. It was more beige than I expected.
Yes.
Not just the decor, but also the food, which was good. It was hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some things tasted the way that I expected them to. Other things tasted of nothing. It was sort of an adventure on a plate, you know?
It was.
A little bit of everything. I tend to eat gluten-free. I did terrible that day. Because it turns out a smorgasbord is actually Swedish for a shit ton of bread, I think. Because all I could eat was eggs and meat. And, well, it wasn't a great choice. But I was happy to see the man with the longest arms in the world.
That was fantastic.
You know, like brought to us in the fine art of whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. Wasn't it like Abraham something?
I think it was... No, it was a really wild name. It was like... Abner, yes. Abner Zor or something like that. I don't know. It was some wild name. It sounded like the antagonist of like a religious thriller, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this man. There were some of those like 3D pictures he made were really, really impressive. Yeah. Which, as somebody who loves making dioramas, like IRL, this sounds like a bit. I'm not kidding. I love making dioramas, but like. As somebody who does that, some of them were really impressive, but the biggest one, the one that like really took the cake, it was terrifying. What's wrong with that man's arms?
They were so long, they just kept extending.
No, the food was pretty good. You know, just what you expect from a breakfast buffet. There were some really big standouts, including the what was it, sticky buns? Those were really good.
The sticky buns were good.
The mush. You know, I still think that's a misnomer. Mush is harder than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Scrapple was softer than I expected it to be. And
just some texture problems.
Texture issues.
Big texture issues. There was a lot of meat.
So much meat.
Yeah, overall, you know, I don't know if we're going to talk about the other accoutrement that we're at.
Oh, we absolutely
cool.
are.
Well, then I'll save my thoughts for later.
Okay.
That's how I felt about the buffet in general.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Like I wouldn't avoid going there again. Like I would consider going.
Sorry, is this Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park.
Is this Jurassic Park?
Why is this Jurassic Park?
Oh, because of the fences.
Oh, there are some extremely high electric fences that are going on
It's
next to
for
us.
a landslide.
Yeah, it's probably for a landslide.
Looks like Jurassic Park.
They are trying to contain some creatures in there, I'm pretty sure. That is wild. Why? No, you're fine. I will provide my thoughts on the buffet. It's very similar, right? I wouldn't avoid going there again. I would not probably seek it out necessarily. But if it was something that like it worked out and we wanted to do that again, if we had somebody else with us that we just wanted to see how crazy it was, I would consider doing that again. But I wouldn't go out of my way to do it. I think it just kind of fortunately worked out the way that it did. I would probably go to a diner over the buffet, actually, because there's some good diners that are in the area. But it was solid, food. There is a there's a billboard.
Oh wow.
I'm not gonna read.
They really wrote that, huh?
They really wrote that. That's something else. Okay. As far as the food there, I would say the biggest hit for me was the turkey and cheese sausage.
Ooh, those were good.
Those were
good.
fantastic. As far as the misses, I think the biggest one for me was probably, I didn't mind the mush much, but that pork pudding or whatever was not great.
What a name.
What a name for a dish.
Pudding.
For a
pudding.
meaty, savory dish.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, I'll remind you that you said it was the best donut you've ever had.
The best what?
Donut that you've ever had.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's a good point. That's, again, me failing at doing gluten-free that day. I only ate half a donut, but it was legitimately probably one of the best donuts I've ever had in my life. Those Amish people, they know how to whip up a donut, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they do. It was a decent apple fritter too, although I have had better apple fritters. They were still pretty solid.
The eggs, a little eggy, you know?
The eggs were strangely eggy. I covered mine up with sausage, gravy, and cheese, so
that was probably the move.
That was probably helping a little bit. But yeah, then we waddled down to the gift shop after going to the bathroom. And midway through, Jamie had to make another trip to the bathroom. Listen, listen, I will qualify this. I don't blame her because this was a massive gift shop. This was ridiculously massive. So.
I think they were going for the world record on most personalized items ever in a place.
Yes.
It felt like purgatory. It was so big.
A lot of Kaylins and Jadens and...
Surprisingly, no Marys.
No,
actually,
no,
that's not surprising. Never mind. That's not surprising.
Mary was sold out.
Mary was sold out.
So a lot of people buying Mary stuff.
Yeah. Good for Mary.
Which kind of tracks.
Good for Mary.
Yeah. I mean, given the location and everything. A lot of weird stuff. Some great T-shirts.
What was the push tush? Was that what we
push tush was
push tush on a pair of pajama pants?
Yep.
That was an interesting one.
I purchased my own Shady Maple Smorgasbord PJ pants.
That was such a good purchase.
Yeah. I wanted a souvenir and that looked like the best. Yeah, I'm excited to wear them. I might wear them sometime this week because I want to relive that experience.
You'll have to give us a rating.
Yeah. Definitely a 1 to 10 scale, and I'll figure out where they are on the softness.
If we go again, you're gonna have to wear them to it. You know?
That would be a good idea.
Because they're stretchy.
Yeah, they're stretchy. I wouldn't be the worst dressed person that was there.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. Shout out to the woman with the Insane Clown Posse t-shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone still had those. It didn't look new.
And that was one thing that I do want to backtrack and say it was a very interesting mix of people.
Truly.
I was very much expecting a very certain demographic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I don't think was necessarily all, there. I thought that, there was a wide range of people that were there. So, I think it's a attraction for many.
And to their credit, almost everyone to a person there did do a damn good job, interfacing with very evidently queer people in their space.
Yep.
They did a very good job.
Yeah, there was no sort of stares or words that were said, at least not to our face, which was great. I didn't feel unwelcome, which is important traveling through these spaces. I'm always kind of on guard, and I'm always a little bit cagey about it, but I think we just went in there, we owned it, we took up our space, and they obliged, so it was great.
Are you trying to say that we are obviously queer?
We are very obviously queer.
Okay.
Well, 1.5 of us have the same hair color. And I'll tell you what, if anyone who's listening right now is wondering what color that is, It's not a normal one. Actually, funny story about that. We were walking around the streets of Philly yesterday, and my friend heard some kids say, "Is that?" And inaudible. We didn't hear what the name was. Is that so and so? And then the kid's mom goes, "No, that's someone else with green hair." So I don't know who I was compared to, but that was fun.
It was a fantastic interaction with another uniquely colored hair person. So we did the gift shop. We also went to the supermarket that was on the premises that was quite spicy. They did have raw milk there that we very much avoided like the plague.
They also had the fish wrapper.
They also had
Which
the fish
is
wrapper.
A free religious pamphlet that had some very interesting, colorful language in there.
It really did. It was stuff that can't be repeated on this podcast.
Certainly not.
Yeah, that's
And
fascinating.
carrot raisin salad.
Oh,
I forgot about the carrot raisin salad
don't forget handballs.
and handballs.
Handballs.
I also picked up for somebody who we will be talking about a little bit later on this podcast, a shoe-fi whoopie pie, because that's a specialty of the area. So pick that up for him, that being Daniel Winter. So shout out to him. We'll be talking about him in a little bit.
Love Daniel.
Daniel is fantastic people. We absolutely love him. So we got checked into the hotel after we made a stop at Target, and I went to the Board Game Besties meetup, which is a group on Facebook. If you're a woman in the industry and want to get more information on this, what's up? Women non-binary, that's right. Can't erase our non-binary friends. Please let me know. I'll make sure that you get connected with them. But it was a very nice meetup. I was really glad that we went. We found out about a game that I will talk about in a little bit as well, because there were some fantastic promo cards. After that, we met up with Roberta and Helena. Helena's the owner of KTBG, and Roberta Taylor, who y'all know if you've listened to the podcast for any extended period of time. Lovely dinner at Maggiano's with them, talking about their journey down to Philly, and excited to have dinner with them. It was very lovely. Shared some stories and some laughs over some Italian food, which was quite good. I loved my 4 cheese ravioli, and I think Allie had chicken marsala that was also very good and tender.
Very good.
Very good, she says. After that, we met up, and Jamie and I reconvened for a game of Blood on the Clock Tower, one of the convention highlights, as
every time.
always.
Every time. What a barn burner.
Yeah, no kidding. So Court Sakmar from Cosmos is a really good player at that game.
Unbelievably good.
And she was our demon, so that makes it very difficult. We did basically suss out one of the minions very quickly.
Yeah. I made a really good joke that night that no one heard, and I'm a little sad about it.
What was that?
I'm gonna recap for the pod just in case. Nobody feel like they have to laugh at this because of pity, but someone was, we were all kind of like having a meeting of the minds near the end of the game, being like, okay, there's 7 people left, 3 of them might be bad guys. Our numbers are a little rough right now, and I forget who it was, but they were like, and I'm almost certain we killed one of the minions. And I just turned to Ray next to me, who was like engrossed in this conversation. I go, one of the little yellow guys? She did not hear me, but anyway, thank you for humoring me.
Yeah, that slipped by me completely.
It was a very passionate game.
It really was. And
Court-
David was our GM for that, right?
As always, he's
very,
an
very
excellent,
good.
excellent GM. Court played my friend Bonko like a fiddle. It was Bonko's first game.
Yep.
And she got played. I'll tell you what. Every time Ray and Court are in a game of Blood on the Clock Tower together, it is like it just gets so intense.
It's
a
very
lot
intense.
of fun. It's a lot of fun. They go for you'd think they hate each other, and then immediately 5 minutes later they're hugging and being all like, "Oh, it's so good to see you."
Because you can't stay mad unless you're
no.
Olivia, and I don't think she was mad. She was just upset that I basically lied to her for the span of 2.5 hours of trying to figure out what was going on at game at Origins. So
I think we need to add we need an addendum to our house rules for Blood on the Clock Tower. First kill Ray, second kill Court every time. We have to.
Yep.
It's just to be safe,
At some point, one of them is going to be one of the evil characters. You just know it.
Absolutely.
You just know. So that was Thursday. Jamie, anything else to kind of recap from Thursday?
Thursday was when I kind of got checked into the hotel, and I got to meet up with my crew for not the first time, except for one of them, my friend Sydney, my bestie who's been doing all the art for the games that I've been putting out. And I got to hang out with my friend Matt, Hive Market Minis, and Bonko, my sweet friend. And I got to meet up with all of them at the hotel for the first time, and we got all our stuff thrown in the room and just sort of, bummed around a little bit. It was a nice little like kickoff to the con. So,
And Bonko is wild in the best way possible.
Unreal. She is chaos incarnate in like the most wonderful way.
Yes.
The whole weekend was really just a treat, an absolute treat with all of them. And you'll hear, the resounding refrain you'll hear from me this entire time is that most of my weekend was spent sort of showing them the ropes, so to speak, because, like they had been to smaller cons or like other industry cons before, but not one of these. And it kind of gave me a valuable perspective to how unique board game conventions are compared to other conventions. Because they're extremely overwhelming, and that was an ongoing struggle for them, and somehow became an ongoing struggle for me in a way I wasn't expecting. But I learned a lot this year. So anyway, Thursday, was meeting up with them and getting our bearings and everything, and showing them around the area. So.
Well, let's get into Friday. So Friday was my big meeting day, and I'll kind of go through these relatively quickly. I'll start off with Resin who is kind of coming off of a Kickstarter. They're looking to fulfill the expansion to Phantom Inc., which I am super, super excited about. I was a backer on that because it's Phantom Inc., and why wouldn't you back the expansion for it? They also had the Singaporeans expansion for Avant-Garde, and this was a expansion that came in a little envelope, so you can just store it right in the box. And it was all hand done, stamped, so kind of going to more of an indie theme, which we saw later. Max, who I met with, actually had one of his games at the Indie Night Market, which I'm very excited to talk about when that comes up, when we talk about Saturday. Floodgates, Landmarks, I was very excited to check out, so when I walked away with a copy of that, wanted to play that, and I will talk about that a little bit later. Because I got to play it that night, and good overall meeting with Floodgate on that. A little bit of news in the fact that Sagrada is going to be made more color vision accessible.
You love to see it.
You love to see it. So Ian couldn't necessarily tell me all the details right off the bat, but I am excited to work with them on that. And it's been a big thing for me. It's on my shelf to do like one more play and get rid of, or keep. And it's kind of at that decision point because of the color vision issues that I've had with it. I absolutely love the game, but that is something that I felt Artisans did improve on, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that expansion or separate components that they're coming out with. Flat River, I got to play a version of Zenith, which is basically like a tug-of-war team game, where you are advancing up technology tracks. You're doing a tug-of-war, trying to get colored discs over to your side. So if you get 3 of the same discs, you have these 5 different tracks. You get 3 of the same colored disc over to your side, you win automatically. If you get 5 of any color to your side, you win as well. A little bit hard to describe without the visual aid, but I had a lot of fun with that in the short couple of turns I had during the demo. Interested to see that one on full release. After that, I went over to Weird City and talked with Tim Eisner about Canopy Evergreen, and I'm very excited to play this. The original Canopy, for me, didn't necessarily stay on the shelves. I actually gave that to a friend of mine because it was just a little bit too light for me as far as gameplay goes. It really didn't offer the experience I was looking for. And Evergreen fixed a lot of that for me. At least I hope anyways. It looks like it's going to do that. A lot more weight to it. You're actually building up things on a player board. You are connecting different paths with your trees that you're building up, so you can unlock bonus tokens that help with your set collection goals as you unlock them. So a lot of really, really cool ideas that came out that makes the game a little bit more robust and a little bit beefier. Not anything that seems like it's going to be too terribly hard for people to grasp, but definitely one that seems like it's going to be a little bit weightier. And then there is a Kickstarter that I believe will be going on in the beginning of the year called March of the Ants. This is a improvement, reskin, actually just an improvement, not even a reskin. It's just, improving everything, of a 2015 game that originally came out, which seems really fascinating. It's kind of area control type game that you are expanding out your colony. And then as you explore, you unlock these spaces which you put your ant on, and you can basically fight over territory for these resource spots for points as well. It looked really fascinating. That one might be one that I actually wind up backing. But I did pick up Canopy Evergreen, so looking forward to playing that. When I met with Capstone, I played Butterfly Garden. This was kind of like a take on Suro almost. Very zen, very relaxed, but beautiful little tile laying game that you're making pathways to try to get the butterflies to come to your side. I did make a post on that on Blue Sky. If you are interested in the visuals on that and what that looks like, you can go and check that out. But yeah, you're scoring points by bringing butterflies to your side of the garden. And some of the areas that you're bringing those butterflies into are shared. So you have a little bit of cooperation that goes on as well. I think one of the biggest things that I like about this over Suro is that it doesn't have any sort of player elimination. which is kind of a turnoff for Suro. Not that the rounds are extremely long, but it is something that players kind of do feel bad about, that player elimination sometimes. Black Forest is kind of the improvement of Uwe Rosenberg's Glass Road system, resource system with the dials that you find in Glass Road. I am very interested to get this one to the table once I get a copy of it, and looking forward to playing what should be a very crunchy, heavier game. Lots of resource management. Glass Road was maybe a little bit simpler than Black Forest looks, so I'm looking forward to that deep dive into that. And then I got to play Pacific Paisley from Weird Giraffe. This was a game that's kind of in the late stages of development from Carla Kopp and Weird Giraffe, where you are basically placing these paisley shapes from head to tail. The head of the paisley shape is the head of the animal that's printed on there, and you're connecting that to the tail of the tail is going and connecting to the head of a different animal. So if you do it correctly and you meet certain conditions that are changing throughout the rounds, you get these little bubbles, and those are going to help you score at the end of the game, meeting certain conditions and that. Really fascinating. There's kind of a good mixture of public and private scoring conditions. Everything was color vision friendly. For me, I had no trouble with it as well, which is standard for Weird Giraffe. What I come to expect from Carla. So that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward. I think that's very, very late in the development cycle, to the point where that's going to be something that's going to be in the product rotation coming up as well.
They make some great games. They really do.
They really do. At the booth, they also had a giant version of Roar and Write, which I didn't get to play, but Allie wound up walking home with a giant D6 that was homemade.
Oh, nice.
It's big, green, and fluffy. I thought from a distance it was a gelatinous cube, but still good.
Yeah, it looked nice to sleep on, but then I kind of tried squishing it, and it was a little bit tough.
Got some cardboard in it.
It does have some cardboard in it. But we always love to see what Carla's got going on. I'm always a big fan of her work, and it's always very accessible. So then, after all the meetings, we went to the big gay dinner. And let me tell you, this was the first year that I got to go and had the opportunity. This was outstanding, and I think it's something that is very much needed, very important in the community.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time.
And it's going to be more important over the next 4 years, especially as well, to maintain that and make sure that there's a place for everybody to kind of congregate and gather that's in the LGBTQ community, or allies who are also there. And had a great time. There was like crafts that you could do. You could sit and play games if you wanted to.
Food was good?
Yeah. Oh, the food was great. The empanadas.
I had 3 of those. Those were like all I ate.
Was it the cheese or the chicken?
The cheese ones. The chicken ones were gone by the time I got there. I like to tell people I operate on gay standard time, and this time around was no different. Despite my best efforts, my friends love them to death, but they were the ones who actually made me very fashionably late this time. But I did get to catch the riddance of the party, which was good. I'll tell you what, Rose Gauntlet, they put on a class act.
Yep.
One of my favorite things is on your name tag, it lists, or it gives you the opportunity to list some topics you might be interested in speaking about, as well as a kind of a code for how sociable you are feeling. So they have a little sticker whether it's a heart, a star, or I don't recall the
Circle,
might
I
be a
think,
circle, but that indicates your level of like willingness to participate in conversation, or if you just kind of are the more of the type of person who just wants to kind of be a part of it and not really participate. Can somebody come up to you and talk to you? I think that's a really, really helpful technique, and I see it happening in queer spaces a lot more than anything, and I really appreciate that. As somebody who really does like to interact with people, but sometimes some nights it's just not. I'm not feeling that, so it's like it gives people a little bit of a heads up, and I think that's really important. So.
Yeah, and to your point, Jamie, I think that Rose Gauntlet does a lot of incredibly great work in the space. I think that they're, a group that's incredibly needed. A lot of really good, hardworking people that are providing some, volunteer effort in making this happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And something that's needed in the space and continues to need, or to be a need. As well, and just good community, great conversations that we had, really well put on event, nice space. Like, I really enjoyed the space, and saw a lot of fantastic people that I wanted to catch up with, and it was a really great time. I'm looking forward to next year as well.
I think a big benefit of a space like that is getting to interface with people that you then know from that point forward are safe folks to interact with. I think for people like us who aren't necessarily in the industry per se from a strictly day job like perspective, full time, it's helpful to know which publishers and which designers and even like more peripheral workers, like people who are in marketing or things like that, who is sort of on the level, or you might share something in common with that you didn't know. Kind of like helps kind of put us more in touch and build that community within the community.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and especially for people just getting in and getting started.
Yes.
Those are very, very important resources.
Huge. Yeah.
Did you want to talk about your after party first, and then I'll talk about mine?
Yeah, totally. So Friday rather, the yearly Rhyme Gala is hosted by Possum Creek, and it's a fun little get together. It's more of like a house party sort of thing, where a lot of TTRPG adjacent people just go and mingle and cram too many people into a house and spend a couple hours just blowing off some steam after the con off-site. So it's like a little bit like more let your hair down, but they always give you an opportunity to dress up, which is really fun. So I always bring a nice outfit and get dressed up and go, and that's a blast. We spent some time there and found what they called the crying room, which was a very quiet bedroom that had a kitten inside of it. So I spent most of the party in there with the kitten and my friends and just yapping. So it wasn't like super eventful, but it was really nice that even in the midst of the chaos of a giant party like that, there was somewhere to just sort of rest and enjoy some more peaceful time.
And the after party that I had, and Jamie, we're going to go back to a couple of things that you did, because we, talked about Big Gay Dinner before we talked about your day.
It's okay.
So I do want to get back to that, but my after dinner on Friday was Allie wanted to basically have pumpkin time to herself. So Whitney Sion, myself, went to the Home 2 and got out a couple of games. The first one being Landmarks, which I had already talked about, and this is a very interesting game where you have a map and you're trying to guide people through word association to get from one spot to another. So you need to get a treasure, and then you need to get off the map. And this was a lot of fun because it's all hexagonal based, and the words that you put down basically once you put a word down, your next word and where you place it or where your kind of teammates are placing it is where they're going to go. So if you have 3 words that are associated with it, that word would then be placed kind of in the middle of all 3 of those words. Whereas if you only had 2, it would be placed just in between those 2. So you can kind of give clues as to where you want your team to place those word tiles. So you basically write the word, and then they place it where they think it should go. Placed from 2 to 10 people, although theoretically you could just have as many people as you wanted on another team. It might get a little crowded at some point. But I really liked it. I think it's a really neat little party game and a fun take on the word association genre. Which there was another one that I will talk about when Sunday comes up. And then Foundations of Metropolis was a game that I bought on a Black Friday sale, and I'll get back to the whole Shelf of Aspiration. Basically I'm missing 2 episodes worth, so a big update on episode 102 as far as that goes. But this was one that I was very excited about. I bought it on Black Friday, and the reason I was so excited about it was the fact that it's basically a scaled-down version of Foundations of Rome, which is a $250 roughly game.
That's a big boy.
It's a huge boy. A lot of miniature pieces, incredible production, incredibly huge. But this provides people a way to get into the same system with the same mechanics, just on a more accessible scale. And I really like that fact, that people are able to step into it this way and get to see it. It becomes more accessible. It becomes easier to get. And, there's not that huge financial barrier to entry that there has been over the past couple of years that Foundations has been out. I would love to try Foundations of Rome after this, just to see what it's like. But Foundations of Metropolis was fantastic. I had a fantastic time playing this with Whitney, and they almost beat me. They came close.
I've seen people play Foundations of Rome, and it looks wonderful. And of course, to me, it would be such a project, but it would be really cool to have those minis painted and everything. It's just such a beast of a game. It kind of reminds me of conceptually speaking, like Too Many Bones, right?
Yep.
Wonderful game, such a buy-in, but so worth it,
Yeah, and that is one thing that now I'm looking at Foundations of Rome and being like, okay, so what does the expansion do? Do I need all this content? That kind of thing. And maybe I can pick it up secondhand.
Yeah.
I would love to explore more of it. And it's such an easy system to teach. It looks like a very daunting game to begin with, but it is very, very straightforward. If you played games like Acquire, you're just buying up a deed, you're placing your property marker on there, and then once you get the right shape, you can put down one of your tiles from your player board that matches that shape, and you get some sort of ongoing benefit from that. So either scoring condition or additional money that will help you buy more tiles every time that you take income. So really fantastic for the price point. The insert is amazing. The production value is amazing. This is still a very, very well done game, and I do give kudos to Arcane Wonders for kind of going in this direction and making this more accessible to people.
Yeah, I know that was something they were really proud of at Gen Con when I talked to Bree about it. It was a good opportunity for them to take a game and turn it into kind of a different form factor that makes it more accessible for a lot of people, which I think is a winning strategy. Because if you have a game that's already kind of beloved, you can then get in front of more people.
Mm-hmm. So, Jamie, do you want to talk about the other things that you did on Friday?
I would love to. So, the first thing I'm going to mention is, as I said before, a lot of this con was me showing my friends around and kind of getting them used to the sort of the hectic lifestyle of being at a con that I think we all tend to lose sight of, or at least this trip has kind of proven to me that like it's something that is hard to keep your mind wrapped around as you do it more frequently. We're so like it's so normalized to us like how hectic these are, and it's hard and very challenging to kind of listen to your body as you're going through this whole process of being at a con for a weekend. And I think that's never more evident than when I'm showing other people around. And so this weekend in general was kind of eye-opening to me in terms of like how much I'm capable of ignoring about myself when I am by myself. Having other people to look after and show around the con really made me become more hyper aware of their needs and therefore my needs. So a lot of it was just showing them. These people are working on a lot of stuff with me, including Lictor, the skirmish game that I'm coming out with hopefully this year, 2025. And so I wanted them to get a taste of it and be able to show off some of the art and some of the cool stuff that we've been doing with that. And all that said, they had a few games that they wanted to check out themselves. So it was a lot of just like kind of sherpaing them around, introducing them to people, showing off our sticker packs and things like that. And the first thing that we wanted to see was a company called West Coast Games, Weast. They were boothing with Keymaster this weekend on Friday only. The people from the game company were walking around the rest of the weekend, but they were selling their game called Desperate Oasis. They are also the people who made the game that you've probably seen ads for on Instagram called Snakes of Wrath. They are graphic designers who have, as I guess all people somewhat do, accidentally stumbled into game design. They were telling us it kind of snuck up on them because they were doing package design for like a chocolate bar or something like that, and on the inside of the wrapper they had put a game, and so they're like, oh, this is a really cool approach to this sort of thing. So they started putting together games that have these like far more graphic styles and things like that, and you can see it in the artwork that they put on Desperate Oasis and Snakes of Wrath. It's much more almost like woodblock print vibes, which is not uncommon to see in the industry. But being there with a graphic designer, my best friend Sydney, she was giving a lot of insight into the art of board games. And as somebody who makes my living off of art, it's always fascinating to learn different perspectives on that. She was saying that most of the industry is kind of illustration led. All of the box art and things like that tend to be very illustration heavy, but graphic design is still an intrinsic part of every board game. So it was very interesting to see that flipped on its head and see a game that was represented by the graphic design artistically, and not have illustration be a major part of that. Not to say it wasn't at all, but it's still small. After that, I was kindly introduced to the fine folks over at Kess, and they showed me Bento Panic, which I was super excited about. I'm a massive One Piece fan, and so is my friend Sydney, and Bonko joined us for a quick demo of that with, I believe his name was Ryan, and he did a fantastic job showing us the game. It's super fun. The components are really it seems like a game that is accessible for a lot of people. It's basically group rock, paper, scissors, which is a lot of fun. I'm excited to get it to the table more and explore some of the strategy therein, but I don't think it's going to be terribly complicated, which means I can get it out in front of more people. And the theming is really great for friends of mine who like anime but don't necessarily want to always play board games, so that's always a big win. And it just looks really sweet. And they were kind enough to send me away with a copy. And it was one of the few games I actually took home with me this year. So I did end up buying, also I mentioned Desperate Oasis. I did end up buying a copy because they only had a handful. So I don't imagine there's going to be a lot of people that are coming away from this talking about that just because there was a limited availability. And then after that, I ran into the fine folks from Turbo Dork, my friends Greg and Meredith, who work and run Turbo Dork, And I was lucky enough to run into our friends from Foreteller while I was doing that as well, and got to talk to them a little bit about my games and give them some goodies that I was carrying around with me all weekend. So that was a nice little surprise. I can't remember what else I have on there that wasn't also Big Gay Dinner and Rhyme Gala. I know we had taken some little notes there.
You had your class.
Oh yeah, that's kind of important, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of need to talk about your class.
My class that I definitely didn't write the night before at 2 a.m. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a mini painter professionally. I paint minis full time on my Twitch channel. I also travel to cons all across the U.S. to educate people on mini painting. Occasionally I compete, but like most of my time is taken up teaching folks how to paint minis. And this weekend was no different. This is my 3rd year in a row teaching at PAX. They're always so wonderful. Big shout out to the volunteers who help make that happen, because for all the cons I go to, they are by far the most organized, the most prepared.
Yep.
I never have to bring anything. It's all there for me when I show up. It's fantastic. Most of it is corporate sponsored. I'm one of the very, very, very few people who are like individuals that teach there. Most of them are sponsored by, WizKids or Reaper or some of the other bigger name companies that do minis. So I'm very proud to be a standout person in terms of being able to teach there. Unfortunately, they only let me have one class during the weekend, but it always seems to go really well. I've had people approach me at cons later in the year saying, hey, that was the first time I picked up a mini and I've been painting ever since. And that is just the biggest compliment I can get. I always love when people come up to me after the class, show off the mini, and want to talk about it. But it's just my favorite thing in the world, and it always gets a couple more eyes on my stream, which is always really helpful. And just lets me share the love I have for mini painting with more people. So this year went really, really well, as usual. I made more of a general class because it's serving a board gaming audience, which is not always focused on mini painting. So I like to make it accessible for people as much as I can. But it was a wonderful time.
I think that's a fantastic approach, and someday I'm going to get to one of these classes.
And I can always just come over and teach you if you want.
That would be nice.
We can make a special episode of Cardboard Time with a visual element.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think we should do that. A little YouTube action.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You also mentioned dim sum.
Oh, dim sum. Dim sum was so good. I was so lucky that my friend Matt, who was with us all weekend, actually lives in Philly. He's lived there for quite a few years now. He was kind enough to open his home to us in the second half of the weekend too, so I managed to get not only the trappings of home, including a lovely cat, but homemade food and just the comforts of being in another person's space rather than at a hotel. And it's kind of like we talked about before the show, where it's like cons can be a lot because you're in an environment that's overstimulating. Then you go to a hotel which is full of people. There's just nowhere you can really go that isn't just overrun. So it was such a treat to be able to escape a little bit. Matt showed us around town, including this wonderful dim sum place that was busy to beat the band. It was so busy, but it was delicious. Some of the best clearly handmade dough, these beautifully wrapped dumplings and stuff like that. It was such a delight.
And then a shop called Me and You.
Me and You was so cute. On our way there, we saw the window of Me and You, and it was all these beautiful little gachapon machines and these blind boxes and all these cool little anime figures and stuff. And unbeknownst to us, underneath it was an Asian grocery that had all these cool, trendy skincare products and snacks and everything you could ever want. And so we spent a decent bit of time in there and just wandered around getting in trouble with buying too much stuff. And that was such a good kickoff to the con because we got all our snackies for the weekend and little trinkets and stuff like that we can't really get on site. So that was such a little treat. We ended up going there again later that weekend because we had such a good time.
Wow.
I got a really cute little Kirby out of the gachapon machine. He's sucking up a piece of cake. So it was a fun little jaunt outside of the space that we normally spend time in.
Oh, very good. So they'll wrap up our Friday coverage Saturday, I want to talk about a couple of things that I did. Allie and I got to wander around for a little bit, including grabbing breakfast, sleeping in maybe just a touch, just a little bit.
I know nothing about that.
And then we hit up the intersection room, which is a LGBT-focused room that they have with different organizations. So that includes the Tabletop Gamers. There was actually a manufacturer there that did dice that had Braille on them.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so nice to see. Love accessibility. Love seeing that. And then I believe there was another organization that basically donated board games to different community groups and also taught them. So I think that's the one thing that I usually see a lot of people kind of missing out on, is that piece of it where they'll go and they'll donate these games and then they just kind of sit there because nobody knows how to play and nobody's, aware of how to get this game out and that. And I think going and teaching the games that you're donating is also a very important piece for that game to kind of have longevity and for it to actually be open and used.
I thought I had their business card, but not,
Yeah.
not in this bag.
Not in the bag?
In the show notes.
Yeah. So we'll link that in the show notes as they go up. But we also sought out the intersection room because we wanted to play a game that we had heard about at the Besties meetup called Tournament Arc. And this is basically a game that is simulating like an anime sports tournament kind of thing. And you are getting cards that have 4 different stats on them. They could be negative, they could be positive. They're all based on anime tropes and characters. Very cute. A lot of fun to play. You start off with a team of 3, and then you're going to be playing cards to modify stats of your own, of your opponent's team. Do different things to them. There's a little bit of take that, but it felt lighthearted enough. Like as you were playing, you were explaining what was going on. So it felt lighthearted enough where the take that didn't feel like in your face and overwhelming. And then you find out what sport you're playing halfway through, trying to optimize your players to have the best stats, and then the team with the best stats at the end of the game wins. Very, very clever character design. That's really what kind of attracted us to want to play this. And glad that we did. I actually wound up winning, and of course I did. And got a little medal, and then Allie also got a medal for playing.
It's my participation ribbon.
Yep. So,
It comes to Kickstarter in the spring. Little Creature.
Yep, it comes to Kickstarter in the spring from Little Creature. So we didn't know about them going into this, and glad that we found out about them. Probably one that I'm going to be backing as well. So then I got the opportunity to play Seppi Yoon's new game, Kaiser Cucumber and the Gangs of Mechanical Corners. This is actually a really good tile placement game where you're placing a tile, you're performing its action, and you're trying to get the most pieces of your color to not get caught on the board. You're also trying to get a certain other color to get caught, and then there's another condition that if a combination of the other 2 colors that you don't have is the most in the stack, you also get 3 bonus points. So it was a lot of fun, had a great time. Seppi couldn't talk at all, so I was communicating with him. He was writing stuff down. I I decided at some point that I needed to use sign language to communicate with him at some point, and I was like, wait a minute, you can just hear me. But he was writing down in his book and said, what he needed to say, and then we had somebody else. Kim Breeze's Jim wound up teaching us the game, and it was fantastic. It was great to finally get to play a game with Kim Breeze after 4 years, I think, at this point of knowing each other. And I was really happy to get the opportunity to sit down with her and play this. But this is a game that I think is going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people, very easy to pick up. And the acrylic tiles on it are absolutely gorgeous. They're very satisfying to play with. It's also going to come in a card version that's going to be a little bit more affordable. And then the infamous, the one, the only Cheese Party. Got a lot to say about this, but I'll try to make it succinct. Cheese Party was something that Liz Davidson, Alyssa Gambone, and myself started back at PAX Unplugged in 2021, I believe it was. We've been doing it ever since, and it was literally a Twitter joke back when we were still using Twitter. Basically saying, hey, we should eat some cheese. And I said, why not? Let's just get together and eat some cheese. And we've been doing that at PAX ever since. The crowd has grown. I think the crowd has kind of grown to the capacity that we can have it in our current venue. So we are looking at, basically moving venues and, trying to make it a little bit more accessible, not only for more people to come in, but some of the people that have to work the show floor might only have 15 minutes to get out, grab some cheese, and then head back. We do want to see all those people and make sure that they're able to participate as well. A lot of good cheese on display. I think my favorite was the apricot Wensleydale that had white
so
chocolate.
Good.
That was so good. Oh my God.
That was such a good one.
And it came from Aldi, of all places.
I've had their apricot Wensleydale before, but not with the white chocolate. That made all the difference. It was so good.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Absolute gorgeous. The 18-year aged cheddar was also quite good, as well as the 100-day Gouda, the Grand Cru. That was a favorite of mine as well. A lot of fantastic offerings. Absolutely loved it. But more than the cheese, I love the company that was there. A lot of great folks. And I'm just very grateful that this started from a what if and just followed up on that what if and made that happen. So that was my day. So Jamie, let's jump over to your day.
Well, honestly, the saving grace of my day was also that cheese party, so I think that's a nice little segue.
Oh, very good.
My friends have having the bit of an overstimulating Friday that they had, decided to take some time on Saturday to go thrifting in the city, and I was flying solo for a little bit, which was kind of nice. It let me be like nice and quick and sort of like be able to move through the con without having to stop and explain and like, as much as I loved showing them around, of course, it was just a nice little way to do what I do best and wander around. So the first stop I had was at KTBG, Kids Table Board Games, which we love. We love the folks at KTBG.
Yes, we do.
They are the best. And excuse me, this time was no different, as usual. I had a fun idea for their new game, Lairs. For my stream, I was going to suggest that I put together a layer for my audience to then find their way through using a PDF of the game board, and they really liked it, and I think it's going to be really fun, and so they seem to be really into the idea. Excuse me. And so I'm looking forward to being able to do that, hopefully live. I have to reach out to them again and get that all sorted out, but they seem to be really interested in it, so that's going to be fun. I know I checked out Chronicle Cards, where a number of my fellow mini painting friends were painting, right there in front of everyone. They had little tables set up where they were working on their individual projects, and that was always a lot of fun. They make some really wonderful brushes that are especially accessible for new painters in terms of cost, in terms of quality. They're wonderful people over there. And outside of that, Saturday was really kind of a light day for me. I didn't do a ton else in terms of wandering around here and there, just meeting with people. We ended up going to dinner a little bit later with our friends Court and Ray, Eric, and a new friend, Evelyn from Mighty Boards. It was her first time in the States, which was really cool. She works in Malta, and so she was exploring Philly a little bit and doing the con thing. And her experience with cons up to this point has mostly been Essen. So this was a nice change of pace for her, I think. So that was kind of cool. I think I mentioned on Friday that I ran into Foreteller and Turbo Dork, but this was the day that actually happened. Not that that's terribly important. I just want to reiterate that it was really cool to show off Lictor and the cool sticker pack that we had for that. They seem to be really excited by that, so that's always exciting. I know Foreteller is working on a tarot-themed game, and they were really interested in talking to my buddy Sydney about her art after seeing the Lictor art. So that was a fun little aside. But yeah, Saturday overall was nice and easy for me. I ended up going back kind of early right after dinner and hanging out at my friend Matt's house and just enjoying a couple movies, just winding down a little bit. It was such a nice change of pace to the hectic kind of hustle and bustle that is, cons like Gen Con, for example. So
I think Allie's got something to say.
I'm intrigued by this Foreteller game. Is this still in development?
I had a feeling you might be. Yes, it is still in development.
Okay, we'll have to talk. When you learn more about it, I want to know.
Absolutely.
That is important usually when Allie gets excited about a game.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a good thing.
Layers!
She won't stop talking about layers, speaking of KTBG. Hopefully I'll have a review copy coming shortly. So, no, love that. And in addition, speaking of KTBG, I might as well talk about that now. Roberta Taylor has a new game that was just announced this weekend. That is very exciting. It is a basically evolving rondel game that I am super excited for. It's in the same vein as the Creature Comforts universe. It's called River Market. So I'm loving this. I need more Roberta Creature Comforts games in my life, and Evolving Rondel is just right up my alley.
Evolving Rondel would be a really great board game themed band name too.
It would be. So Evolving Rondel is basically you have these pieces, and that's a good call out because some of the audience might not know. You're going to be moving pieces around a board. It's not exactly Monopoly, but you're going to be moving around a track. And what you can do as a player is start putting shops and different elements on that track to be able to do different things when you land on those spaces. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can handle the mechanic, but essentially that is what you're doing is you're going around, moving around, going to these spaces and getting the benefit of landing on that space.
Okay. That is a very good explanation. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me talk about the indie game night market. And I am so incredibly happy with how this turned out. There was a line that was, 6 rows deep of people trying to get in. They let 60 people in at a time. And then as some people left, and hold on, I need to cough. As people left, they went and, basically let more people in. And this was a setup that people could come in. They could basically produce their own games, so like 20, 30 copies of their own game, and then sell them. So they didn't have to be published by a major publisher or anything. You were just able to go and sell your own stuff. And for the industry, it's a huge deal because there's a lot of people that are looking for that inroad of, I don't know how to sell this. I think it'd be good, but it might not be interesting to a publisher to pick up, or it has subject matter that a major publisher is never going to pick up. And I think it's really fantastic for that because it allows some of maybe the not as well known voices, or some well known voices that want to do something different, maybe outside the box, for them to get their ideas out. And huge credit to Daniel Newman for doing this. He runs New Mill Industries and does a lot of trick-taking games. I believe goes to the Tokyo Game Show every year, where this is basically an idea from that. This is something that is done regularly at the Tokyo Game Show. I did pick up a couple of games that looked interesting. I really wanted High Tide by Marceline Lehman.
That was the indie darling.
It really was. I think she sold out in 7 minutes.
Not surprising.
6
Not surprising.
minutes.
That was all over social media.
I
Good
really
year.
wanted to boost it, and it's a happy problem to have, right? Because, I really wanted that prototype version of it. But the beautiful thing is she got it signed.
Wonderful.
So I get to buy it in a store. I
cooler.
also bought a little playmat that was the bring your own component kind of thing, so you can make your own components and use the mat for that.
That's so cool. I love that. As an indie designer, I really love that there are opportunities like that are really becoming a lot more a lot more mainstream. I know that's something that's really been taking off in the miniatures and like wargaming space too. There's a lot of this kind of, I usually refer to it as like zine culture that's really starting to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of spiritually the same thing, I think, where it's like giving people who don't have the resources and the access opportunities to showcase their skills. And then I think that does help create a platform for them to catch the attention of bigger designers, or rather publishers, that can then sign their games. I think it's an alternative to pitching,
Yeah, and I think that is an absolutely beautiful thing. I wanted to grab High Tide, but I will gladly, for Marceline to be successful, print my own version of it.
Absolutely.
But kudos to her. Also picked up another couple of games. Mutation is Jonathan Cox's game, of John Gets Games fame. This is a dice placement game with the chunkiest dice, super heavy, that you are working on a cooperative set of colors. All the colors were really well done. They were very easily distinguishable from each other, and really just a very visually appealing game. Fascinated to play something from him. He goes through a lot of games, so we'll see how he fares as a game designer. And then Torchlit is a very interesting looking trick-taking game where you're balancing what tricks to take along with when to increase the amount of tricks that you need to get. It's dungeon themed. I can't go into all the mechanics of it, but I will be doing a review of that as soon as that comes up. I got dinner with Justin, Allie, and our good friend Matt Hawker. We went to an Indian restaurant. The interaction was definitely something interesting. It was late at night, but they basically seated us, and we waited for a long time. And then we randomly had food served to us, and our waiter asked how our food was. And we never ordered. So we basically sent everything back and said, hey, we still need to order. And then, finally did and got our food, in a pretty timely manner after that happened. So, very good Indian food. Just a really weird way of doing that. I had hoped to get Hollow out with him and Jamie. That might be something that I talk about scheduling some time with you as well.
That'd be wonderful.
In getting that out online with Matt. It looks like an amazing game. He's done a lot of work on that, and I think that it's very close to being ready.
What a great
prime
guy
time.
too.
Oh, he is. I love him.
Love him.
And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about was Maki Master, also by KTVG. Because we just love their stuff.
We love them.
And I bought this on Black Friday as well. Really enjoyable game. Played that with Allie and Whitney, and had a great time with it. Played it on the bed as we, basically got comfy and in our PJs, and fantastic time. I will be doing a full review of it soon, so stay tuned for that. And Jamie, with 6 minutes to go, do you want to tell us quickly about your dinner and anything else from Saturday night?
Saturday night, we went to a little spot called Sueño. I went with Court and Eric and Ray and our new friend Evelyn, and then my little crew of friends. The food was pretty good. The service was not great. The Santa bar crawl that interrupted our meal was exciting for a little bit and then became a little bit overwhelming. They overbooked themselves due to a little party, and then the Santas started rolling in. It kind of felt like something out of a movie. So, needless to say, it was a chaotic dinner that capped off a chaotic day, and it made us all the more excited to go back and just chill out and watch some movies and build some minis and stuff. So, not much to report there. Food was all right, like I said. It was a little change of pace since we're so close to Chinatown. I could eat Asian food all day, every day.
Same.
But every once in a while you need to switch it up. So I had a really delicious veggie quesadilla. Got to get those veggies when you can at cons.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I will say that that was one of the considerations that we had. We actually did a chicken korma and a paneer tikka masala, or a paneer butter chicken rather, just because we needed some sort of vegetal and
a surprise dish, from what I hear.
And a surprise dish, which we didn't get to keep.
Mm.
They took it and gave it to somebody else.
Shame.
But that's how that goes. We didn't even know what it was. It could have been goat. It could have been whatever, which I'm not a huge fan of goat. I have had it before, but not the biggest fan. It's a little bit too gamey.
Well, one of our friends being vegetarian, we didn't want to just consume the mystery meal.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I want to add, conventions and events like this are very hard on local restaurants, so even though our service wasn't great, Still tip your servers and be nice to them.
Absolutely. Yep. I thought you were going to say it's hard on the, the GI tract.
Oh,
Especially that.
also yes. So we are passing the Pagula Arena, which folks from Buffalo listening to the podcast will be very familiar with that name. We are currently on the Penn State campus.
Just as a side note, Pagula Arena sounds like a medical term.
Yeah. Pagula
Just-
Arena.
Oh, you got hit right in the Pagula Arena,
Yeah. It's like solar plexus, but not. and a big statue that says "We Are," and then you say Penn State after that because my college roommate, hi Rich, always used to say that. And he's like, "You need to know what that is," and I know what that is, and apparently that's when I needed to know it. So, navigating the roads of Penn State's campus. So we are going to take a break from recording. We are going to go get some ice cream.
I gotta pee so bad.
Me too.
I also have to pee.
Glad everyone now knows that.
Yep, everybody knows that we have to pee. And
You gotta know what you're tuning into.
That's right. We'll
That's
keep
right.
you updated on our, our bladders.
yep. And maybe one of us will poop our pants. Who knows?
Well, no. With enough luck, we won't.
with enough luck, Allie, you need to take your Lactaid.
Good looking out.
Yep. See,
For the sake of everyone here.
that's what a good fiance does. Yeah, I
Would it
look
be-
out for you.
It might be funny if you didn't.
Not for anybody in this car, it wouldn't. Okay. We will see you on the other side of the break, which will just be instantaneous because I don't have that music anymore. So we will see you as soon as the recording starts again. Okay, so we are back in the car driving once again.
Chock full of ice cream.
Chock full of ice cream. That was a lot of ice cream. Some of us more than others because somebody got a chocolate shake as well. And she said it was good.
As is her right.
Yep. And we won't say who it was.
Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be you.
Couldn't be Allie. I wasn't going to say anything, but you just did. So, anyways, so my levels got adjusted randomly while we were out enjoying ice cream, but have to ask everybody, it's been 20 years since I've been to the Berkey Creamery at Penn State, and I want to say it's maybe even better than I remember, other than I have a distinct recollection that they used to do their own waffle cones, and they do not do that anymore. They just serve it up to you on a regular cone, which I was a little bit disappointed in that, but the quality of the ice cream was fantastic, in my opinion. Jamie, what did you think?
I thought it was superb. I like almost all ice cream, and so, I don't believe in a best system when it comes to ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they need to exceed a certain threshold, and this definitely did. Other candidates that exceed thresholds similar are Mitchell's and Jenny's,
Mm-hmm.
and the occasional Ben and Jerry's, but this one definitely exceeded that threshold.
I think you need to share what flavor you got because it's important.
Oh, good idea. I got the whiteout flavor, which was popcorn flavored ice cream with white chocolate chips, and it was delightful.
Yeah, it was very delightful. I got I'm trying to remember what it was called, like stickies, cinnamon stickies, which is just like a little bit of a cinnamon roll vibe that they apparently do locally at the creamery. It was fantastic. It was an excellent flavor. If you're ever in the State College, Pennsylvania area, definitely check that out. It is definitely a experience that I will remember until the next 20 years go by, that I wait until I go to this ice cream place. So Allie, what were your thoughts?
You say 20 years, like we're not going to end up there next year before PAX Unplugged. But I got pistachio and chocolate. I have a hot take. I prefer a thin milkshake, and this was a very good thin milkshake. The pistachio ice cream had whole pistachios in it, which was delicious. But I'm going to have to say Mitchell's is better. Nothing beats the amaretto from Mitchell's.
Amaretto cookie, probably best flavor of all time. In my opinion. Like, for me, it's my new best flavor of all time.
That's an odd one, but I trust you.
It's really good.
It's seasoned. You better get up.
You need to get there, like, very soon
That's
because
such
they're
a-
going to take it away.
That's rough. I don't leave the house, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely worth getting. It's a solid candidate for ice cream flavor best of all time.
All time. Wow.
All time. So yeah, let's get back into it, and we are going to talk about Sunday. This was yesterday for us. I started off my morning at the All Play booth, playing Alibis with some other content creators, and I had a really good time with this one. This was another word game. Reminded me a little bit of Codenames, but basically you have a bunch of different suspects that are lined up with words that are next to them, and basically each team member will get a little dry erase board, and then two of the suspects they will get cards for, and you are trying to deduce basically the main suspect or the odd person out that doesn't have a card that's given out to another player. And with those two cards that you get, you write down a word that is related to both of the words that are on each suspect. So, for instance, if you said ice and dairy, you could do cream, something like that, to associate the words with each other. And like code names, you have a couple of different, times where you will have conflicting words that you want to try to avoid and be creative in trying to make sure that you avoid giving conflicting clues. But essentially, you're trying to get through a token stack. If you can guess the pair that another player goes, and this is fully cooperative, by the way. If you can guess a pair of word or the suspects that player has, you get rid of one of the tokens. If you can actually guess the odd suspect out, you get 3 tokens taken away. So you want to get rid of all of these tokens. And I had a lot of fun with this one. Very accessible. No color issues whatsoever with it. Did a little video for All Play afterwards and talked about my thoughts on the game. And that's one thing that I brought up was like that there was no sort of color vision restrictions as well. So I really enjoyed that one. Looking forward to playing that with more players. I did get a copy of that. And then I got the chance to talk to Greg Loring Albright. He was the designer of Ahoy and Block by Block. He does have a new game that's coming out. It's actually about religion. Very fascinating. And it's not about like any specific religion. It's about like the systems of religion. And it's kind of a storytelling game, like a light RPG / game. I thought that was a really interesting concept. I'm excited to talk to him further and get more information out to you about that. But I got a quick demo, and what I saw of it was very fascinating. It was very different. I like that in the space. I like different concepts and having different concepts kind of explored through gaming. So I liked what Greg was doing with that. So stay tuned for an interview with him coming up in the very near future. After that, I had lunch with Allie, and then we picked up Joe Kelly. And if you don't know who Joe Kelly is, go back and listen to my podcast with them about Molly House. They are a fantastic designer and a wonderful human being as well. I want to emphasize that. One of my favorite people in the space. They are just so sweet, so kind, and love sitting with them and chatting. It's always a great experience whenever I get to hang out with Joe. And then also with us was Jay Dragon, who I really had no idea who she was. Because I'm not in the TTRPG space, but Allie did know who she was. The creator of Wanderhome.
Yes.
And Possum Creek Games. And it was a great little conversation that we had. We talked about different topics in the board gaming industry, like how I approach reviews, how I approach dealing with different subjects. And a lot of things about being queer in the space as well. So it was a delightful conversation that we had over lunch over at Reading Terminal Market. I did have some taquitos because Joe ordered them and they sounded amazing. Half of them were, I think it was panela cheese and butternut squash. And then the other half was supposed to be chorizo and cheese, but I think it was just chicken. I think they goofed the order up. But regardless, they were fantastic. Really enjoyed those, and I would highly recommend that place. I can't remember exactly what their name was. And after that, we wandered around to kind of wrap things up, say our goodbyes, say hi to a couple of people before we left. Justin, our friend Justin Peters, who's a game designer and a longtime friend of mine, needed to grab his bags, so we took him back to the hotel and just chilled in the hotel for a little bit. Until dinner. We did get dinner with Whitney and Josh Wood. We went to go get some Thai. Josh Wood is the designer of Let's Go Japan. You probably know him from that more recently than anything else. Also done a lot of development work with AEG. And another criminally underrated game, in my opinion, is Santa Monica. I did talk about that. I believe I posted a review a little while back about Santa Monica and how much I really, really enjoyed it. That is a game that if you can find it at your FLGS, it's a pretty cheap pickup, but a lot of really fun gameplay to be had. So that's one to check out. If you did not hear my review of it already, you can go and listen to that. So we had a great time with a very handsome waiter. Looked like a K-pop star. And certain people at the table, including myself, were very thirsty over that. And then we went back and picked up our games. And we were also joined by Court Sakmar and Daniel Winter. Who is always a delight to hang out with, like I said before. We did get Daniel in for a game of Snatch It, and then he had to leave, and we continued on playing Yum Yum Island and Edo after he had to leave. So in Daniel's honor, before the close of the episode, while Jamie is going over her stuff after I give you a description of these three games, we are going to have a little show and tell over what Daniel brought me from Canada So I'm excited to share that with Jamie and Allie, and we'll eat even more food and sweets. So let me start with Snatch It. This is a card game that basically you're playing cards. You're trying to get them out of the center of the table or out from your opponent. You have to play the same color. There's purple and there's orange. And then either the same number or one higher to do that. And then if you do that again on a stack that's in front of you, you get to eat the stack and then score the points at the end of the game. There's a couple of other rules, but it's a very simple card game. The art on it was something to behold. I'll let you look it up on your own. I did post some photos on Blue Sky of it just today. I'm recording this on Monday, so if you go back to Monday's Blue Sky posts, they'll be up there, a little sampling for you. But they were very interesting and kind of disturbing in many ways. But we had fun with it. It's a little take-that kind of card game. A lot of back and forth with stealing stuff from your opponents, but you're playing frogs. You're trying to get, little insects and creatures into your belly. And, yeah, it's kind of thematically, it makes sense. But, yeah, it was fun. Yum Yum Island's a classic convention staple. It's nice to have that back out at the table again. We had a lot of fun. Josh was a good trooper in dealing with us and our weird card and dexterity games. Probably wanted to play something a little bit more serious, but Yum Yum Island was actually a big hit at the table with the new people that came in. And then Ito was very reminiscent of Wavelength. You're trying to put cards in order when you can't see the numbers on the cards. And you do that by using a prompt and having it be on a sliding scale of 1 to 100. So you have your card, you put it down, and you give a little phrase answer to the prompt. So for instance, if you we'll go with the really contentious, memorable one from last night and say, what historical or rating of a historical period that you could go back to. So if you played, a low number, it would be an event that you really didn't want to go back to see. If you played a high number, it's something that you were really excited about going back to see. So, and you're trying to give clues to make sure that all the cards line up in order. This was originally a release in Japan, and it was brought over by Arcane Wonders, and had a lot of fun with it. It's a nice activity to do with friends. It's the kind of thing that you can just sit there and not worry about keeping score and having a fun little wind down game, which this was as well. And then we shuffled off to bed after that. So that was our Sunday. So I'm going to allow Jamie to take over, and then I am going to get out my show and tell items.
I was hoping to take a peek at that notes again. This whole weekend was such a blur that I barely remember what I did.
Go ahead and take that, Jamie.
Okay, so the morning was a little slow. We had some wonderful breakfast, again, cooked by my friend Matt, who was kind enough to let us stay with him. So we got there kind of late, not until about 12:30 or so, which was all right, because like I said, I got a lot done this weekend. I have so much work to do that I can't add more to my plate, so I'm really happy with how little I was able to get away with doing for once at a con. I kept telling people that I was wandering around and not having any work to do kind of felt like I was doing something wrong. I felt like the dog that caught the car, so to speak. But the places I did stop by on Sunday were the World Champ Game Co., which is a small RPG operation featuring some really awesome games like Bloodborg, which is one that my friend Sydney picked up, and Babes in the Wood, which is a over the garden wall themed TTRPG that I actually am doing an actual play for, which is kind of cool. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I got to the booth and saw that that was his game, so that was a cool little coincidence.
I think we own that.
It's a very cute game. It's a very cute game, but that is from them. I stopped by Mighty Boards to see our new friend Evelyn, who sent me home with a couple of minis because she wanted to see how they looked painted up, and they are beautiful. I can't wait to get my hands on them. Probably do them on a 4-color challenge one of these days. We brought our friend Bonko over to Possum Creek to say goodbye to her new friends there, and just to give everybody hugs. And quite possibly one of my new favorites that I've been really keeping an eye on lately is Snowbright Studios. Not only are they local to us, but they have some really beautiful TTRPGs and other really awesome looking games. The one that stood out to me the most was Ink. It is a TTRPG in which you only level up when your party TPKs, or total party kills. So it is a combat aggressive game, but it is not in the way, not in terms of like it being like necessarily violent as much as it is the lessons you learn from your failure kind of thing. It's a queer-led studio, which is extra cool. Not to mention the cool part is that they're nearby us. They're out of Cleveland, so they're a really terrific little studio that I'm hoping to work with here soon. And the art was just beautiful as well.
We actually own both of those.
Do you
too.
really?
So if Tea Time Adventures and Ink. So if you want to play sometime, let me know.
I would love
Tea Time
to.
Adventures is really cute. And it's got little recipes inside that coincide with the adventures.
That's so cute.
And I actually they have like zines that come out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's monthly or what, but it's like a little magazine. And there's different adventures and stuff inside there. I bought a holiday themed one.
I love that.
At the con. But
yeah, they
we
looked
have-
really nice.
We have both of those, and it is in the ever-growing pile of non-D&D games we need to play.
Yeah, mine is a shelf of TTRPGs I'll never play, is what I call it.
Yep, that's my shelf of aspirations.
And last but not least, we did a little something off-site to cap off the day while I let Bonko fly free, which was something I was really kind of like happy about. It was cool to see her thrive a little bit as a new content creator, letting her spread her wings a little bit and passing the torch. Seeing her excitement was kind of like helping me temper my guilt about not being in the con a lot in the weekend. But it was just really neat to see her find the joy in conventions that I also really love. But nonetheless, we went to the Sanrio store, which was a lot of fun. It was another really great store with a lot of Hello Kitty and anime stuff that was really great to get a couple blind boxes. Don't tell Rachel, but I brought her one home. I'm excited to give it to her.
Ooh.
Hopefully she'll already have it by the time this episode comes out. But I grabbed her a blind box, and we had a lot of fun just like poking around the store and getting all sorts of little trinkets and stuff. It was really cute.
Yeah, so that was Sunday, and then this morning we basically packed up, checked out of the hotel. We said goodbye to Whitney this morning, and so now we're on the road, and y'all are caught up with our adventures. But last, I want to make sure that we, before we get into the final wrap up, we all share in this bounty brought to us by Daniel, and you can take a piece.
A little bit of Canadian communion here.
Yeah, a little Canadian communion. And I say bounty, and it is literally a bounty. So we're going to do a little taste test and then give you our thoughts here in a moment. Cheers. Cheers to everybody. Cheers, quiz.
Hell yeah.
Hmm.
It's just like a joy. It's a joy
It's a joy.
without the almond.
Bounds bar, right?
It's a Mounds bar.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that does have a real name, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was just being cute.
That's good.
It's tasty. There's some good audio of us chewing, I bet.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a little ASMR.
Save that for the Patreon.
There you go. That's really good.
Only
I really
snacks.
like that.
You can just do an only snacks.
Only snacks, yeah. So it's a Canadian candy that I've always meant to try, and just never have. Never had the ability to try it out, and thanks to Daniel, I have really enjoy that one. Maybe not on the level of a coffee crisp, but pretty darn good, I would say.
Nothing beats coffee crisp in my mind.
Yeah, it's so good. Jamie, what do you think? Pretty good?
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Mounds and Almond Joy already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love a candy bar, but especially one that can actually include some sort of like non-manufactured good in it, even though it's like, you know, enriched or altered as coconut, but it's still you could at least argue that there's a little bit of fruit in there or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like that. So, Jamie, any overall thoughts that you wanted to share about the convention experience on a whole as we kind of wrap up and bring this home?
Yeah, I think we were both kind of talking about how weirdly enough we felt a little bit overwhelmed this year by PAX, which is a little strange. I think that was partially due to the layout a little bit. It was a little erratic, it seemed. It also felt like there were more vendors this year than there normally are, but maybe that's just me, you know, feeling a distortion from that overwhelmed feeling. But all in all, it's kind of nice to know that I can go to a con and not like have to work my butt off all weekend. I can still go and enjoy that as an attendee a little bit. But it was just a nice opportunity to show people I love the things that I do, and I was really sad that my partner Rachel couldn't come with us. But it was nice to have folks that were there to help me care for myself, because it's so easy to lose track of eating and drinking and all the things that you need to do to keep your body running. So having a couple friends on hand to make sure you're taking care of yourself and being kind to yourself was really helpful. So
that's always really important too. I will definitely agree with you on the overwhelming part. I think that this year especially it was a little bit overwhelming. It was a little bit crowded, and I definitely felt it for sure. Also, Allie did find the business card that I was talking about earlier. It is Board Games for the Better is the organization. They are the ones that are doing donations of board games and then doing some teaching sessions. So Board Games for the Better, I wanted to give them a shout out as well. So go check them out and give them some love and support. Overall, I think the layout, maybe was a little bit worse than previous years just from aisle width standpoint. Some aisles were absolutely fine. They were nice and wide. But some of the cross aisles to move back and forth in the convention were really, really congested and tight. You could not fit 4 people wide, which is really what you need to do if you're setting up a convention and you want people to flow through at least somewhat smoothly, because people are going to be at a booth looking, and then you're going to have another lane for traffic. So little bit disappointed in that. I would say this is still, until otherwise proven, wrong, still my favorite convention that I go to during the year. Origins is close to home, but PAX is just something different. I think we, to your point, Jamie, get a little bit more time to do things. As much of a whirlwind as it is, it's not Gen Con whirlwind. It's not that kind of crazy. So I like that aspect of it. I feel I get to see more of my friends that way. And really, I love Philly. I think for a venue, it's really cool. There's a lot of great restaurants. It's not terribly expensive to eat places. especially if you go over to Reading Terminal. There's a lot of great deals over there that things are reasonably priced, as opposed to a place like Las Vegas or something that gets ridiculously expensive. So I still love that aspect. One thing that I did want to talk about was the date moving for next year. Not thrilled about that. I will say that supposedly that coincides with BGGCon down in Dallas, Texas. It's also in coincidence with a major marathon, and it is weekend before Thanksgiving. So a lot of things going on during that time. There might have been a conflict that they had to do that, but for me, it makes it a little bit harder to get down there. I think that may wind up for my publisher friends being a little bit less beneficial for sales and marketing. People are going to be waiting for more of those Black Friday deals. So a little bit sad about that. And Jamie, I know that we kind of had a conversation about that as well.
Yeah. I'm imagining they'll do early sales and stuff like that, but there's definitely going to be a non-zero amount of impact I think that'll have on our publisher buds. All that said, I do really like that PAX is timed typically with just a little bit of time before the holidays, so you can get those last minute gifts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This gives you a little bit more planning time, which is nice. I do think that it being during another busy time for the city with the marathon and everything, that's going to be a little tricky. Booking hotels is already kind of hectic for cons. You have to book it so far out. Planning that financially can be really tricky. So another opportunity for those companies to make more money and charge more for the hotel is going to be inaccessible for a lot of people, which is I'm always looking for the inequality issue, right, with going to cons. It needs to be accessible for more people so that it's just opportunities abound for those folks. So
Exactly.
it's gonna be tricky, I think, for a lot of people, and hopefully it's not gonna put too many people out. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the move.
Yeah, I just I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But one piece of advice I would give to people is, if you do want to be guaranteed that hotel room, make sure that you book early. Do be aware that date has kind of moved up, and make your assessment about whether or not you want to go next year, and start getting planning, because that's going to be a big thing. So as far as final words go, just overwhelmed with the support for episode 100. So thank you everybody for listening. It was a great interview. Really had a great time with Amabel, and looking forward to bringing more of those stories to you in the future. Next episode is going to be a little bit different than how I have traditionally handled my top 10 games of the year. I am going to do a 10 games of the year I'm still thinking about, because it's going to be very hard for me to continue to kind of rate and rank those games, especially with some of them being so different, but I am still thinking about them, which may give you a clue as to some of the games that are going to be on the list. So that will be the next episode 102. So y'all know my socials. My socials are my Instagram at cardboard_time. Blue Sky is at cardboardtime. And then you can always email me or visit cardboardtime.com for the link to the Discord on the Tabletop Express server. Always want to give them a shout out. It was great seeing those guys this weekend. Didn't get to spend as much time with them as I really wanted to, but did get to see them and hang out. So that was always good, to see Anthony and Ryan and Chris. So and all the rest of the folks that are on the Discord. Always love seeing everybody over there. So That's my stuff, so I can wrap that up. Jamie, you have a lot going on, so why don't you go ahead and give us the whole pitch?
Yeah, so we'll start from the top. This whole weekend I was handing out my one-page TTRPG crafting sim called Lacksmith. It is a plug-and-play kind of solitaire game that you can play by yourself, or you can play while other people are on a side quest in your D&D group or whatever you're playing. It's kind of cool. It's a little pass-fail dice and card game that you can turn into an opportunity to like craft items in a game. I'm planning on building out a handful more of those that are all themed around different like fantasy crafting ideas, and we'll all play a little differently to put into a compendium eventually. But that's available over on my itch page for Pay What You Want. We were handing out sticker sheets for Lictor, which is my upcoming skirmish game that is to be announced for the release date. But if you're into or want to try to get into skirmish games, I think this is going to be a great opportunity. If you go to lictor.com, you can sign up for email updates and just kind of keep up with us as we add more to that. And as good question, Allie. You spell Lictor Lyctor, lictor.com. And my
Barely
socials. God damn it. My socials are at Jamie Daggers just about everywhere, except for Blue Sky. I'm at daggers.tv. So if you want to check that out, I would love to have you follow along. I stream over on Twitch Tuesday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Usually painting minis, always talking board games, sometimes a little bit of anime too. But we're doing all sorts of fun stuff over there, and I would love to have you be a part of it. But other than that, thanks, Arwen, for, as always, our PAX tradition is one of my favorites. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and thank you for being on and providing your insight and
My strange perspective?
Your great perspective. Come on, it's fantastic. It's always welcome. I know that we view this convention as one of our favorites, if not our favorite. I mean, it's my favorite. We'll see how OrcaCon steps up.
I'm excited to hear about
really
that.
fascinated about that. I think it has a chance to be a little bit different, and I'm already signed up for a BSG game, so I'm just thrilled. It's always been extremely special to me, and looking forward to next year. It's one of the conventions that we want to prioritize, despite being a month after our wedding. Maybe a little over a month, like a month and a couple weeks. So looking forward to that. Allie, thank you for driving.
I hated every minute of it.
Thank you, Allie.
Yeah, she hated every minute of it. And giving us the time and space to give you this wrap up and this rundown that everybody says that they actually like listening to. So always happy to chat games and value everybody who came up, said hi, and stopped us and wanted to chat for even just a couple minutes. It does make our day. So until next time, we'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Cardboard Time. Allie's still not eating chips.
Dang.